Hey everybody, welcome to your match day preview for the second day of the third round of the US Open Cup. 7 matches on the docket tonight. We're taking a look at some of the best storylines. I'm Nick Verschaw, Greg Lawless here, and we'll start with the fallout a little bit here from the Robbie Rogers-Mike Magee trade over the weekend. Both of these players are probably going to be in action. The Chicago Fire on the road at the Charlotte Eagles, and just down the road, the LA Galaxy at the Carolina Railhawks. This is definitely the debut for Mike Magee, and we might see Robbie Rogers.
Yeah, well, Robbie Rogers is in Carolina for this one, so he's expected actually to get some playing time. I think that Bruce Arena and the coaching staff are going to try and get him as much playing time as possible to start to get his fitness up. Mind you, Bruce Arena did not travel for this one, so I actually misspoke there. It's going to be Kurt Onalfo who will be running the team from the sideline for this one. On the other side, Frank Klopas, head coach for the Chicago Fire, coming out and saying they're probably going to see Mike Magee. This will be his debut. And you know what? They're going up against a team in Charlotte that is really struggling at home. Charlotte have yet to win at home in the league. So this is a chance, I think, for the Chicago Fire to get through pretty easily.
That Chicago Fire game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's the first, again, of 7 games involving MLS teams on Wednesday night. Make sure you log on to MLSsoccer.com. We've got a live chat that has you covered throughout the night. Next up, we're watching for Cinderellas on Wednesday night. There are 2 PDL teams remaining. Reading United, they're at the New York Red Bulls, and Tucson FC, they're at the Houston Dynamo. We know all about Cal FC from last year, Greg, a U.S. amateur team that did so well. But PDL teams, this is going to be the round that they get knocked out?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, they're a semi-pro team. They're basically the 4th division of soccer in the United States. So these PDL teams, they have a lot of ambition. They want to prove that they belong, but they're going up against the biggest boys that exist in this one. I think if either team, Reading or Tucson, has a better chance, I'm actually going to go with Tucson because they're riding the high. I've already beaten a couple of teams that are above them, including their in-state rivals, Phoenix, in the last round. Now, if they can get through Houston, that would be massive for the soccer scene in Tucson, which is already growing. We've seen MLS teams go down there for preseason. But there's actually a big story on the other side, too, of this one with Reading and New York. There's a player for the Red Bulls who might be making his return to action.
Yeah, this could be Ryan Mira's debut in 2013, a guy who was very high on their radar just last year, expected to make his start against Reading United, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and then the Houston Dynamo in the second game at home against Tucson FC. We're on upset alert here in the third round of the US Open Cup. Last but certainly not least, maybe the game of the night, the Seattle Sounders on the road at Tampa, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Rowdies, everybody knows down in the NASL, this is a very good team. Sounders are going a long way. What do you expect?
Well, these are the defending champion Tampa Bay Rowdies from the NASL, and we know how the Sounders feel about the US Open Cup. 3-time winners until they lost in the final last year against Sporting Kansas City. I think that Seattle are going to be a little undermanned. No Eddie Johnson for this one. That's a big deal. He was a big part of everything. They're also traveling all the way across the country. Can they go down to Florida? It's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. Are they going to be able to get a result down there against a very good Tampa Bay team?
Again, that game 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And let's just say, Greg, the Sounders win this game. They beat Tampa, and Portland win their game later in the night. You could see Seattle and Portland in the 4th round of the US Open Cup. Again, make sure you log on to MLSsoccer.com. The live chat begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, the third round of the US Open Cup.